That is my brother Rowland playing the flute. Several years ago he got interested in tracing our genealogy back to Native Americans, in this case back to the Cherokee tribe. So he did his research and went back and studied the Dawes Cherokee rolls, and at that time found that we had ancestors that were listed in the rolls. And that is a prerequisite for becoming a member of a Cherokee tribe. In our state of Alabama, there are several recognized tribes by the state, and a person can become a member by application and by proof of heritage to some member that goes back and is listed on the Dawes rolls. And due to his research, I also was able to become a member of the same local tribe here in northeastern Alabama. My brother has been very active in the local tribe. He attends the powwows. He served on the council for the tribe. He makes some Indian crafts and does fabrication of some Native American clothing. He even, for quite a while, even though Cherokees didn't live in them or use them, built full-sized canvas teepees and did demonstrations at different shows and powwows. He also gives demonstrations of things about Native Americans at local schools. He's become very proficient at playing the flute, as you heard, and also proficient at throwing the Native American tomahawk. So he's really gotten into participating in the tribe. I, on the other hand, have never gotten as involved in the tribe as he has. I'm honored to have a membership in the tribe and honored to have some Native American blood, but most of the participation in the tribe has been his participation. He called me not long ago, and knowing that I make YouTube videos, he said, "I want you to come and go with me. I want to show you something and bring you a camera." And this was back a couple of months ago while it was still cool weather. But we met and went off to an area here in northeastern Alabama near Gunnersville Lake in Marshall County. And the videos that I'll show you here show what we went and saw and I took videos of that day. As I followed my brother up through the woods there, I couldn't help notice how much he resembles my dad. Rowland, my brother there, is 76 years old now, and I'm 71. So here's what he wanted to show me. It's a big standing stone out here in the middle of the woods, and that stone is about 20 feet high. It's about 10 feet wide, and it's 3 or 4 feet thick. And according to my brother, it's thought that that is one of the boundary markers for the Cherokee land. And I've never seen one like it in anywhere around this area. And that's a good view there of looking from the ground, looking up toward the top of the stone. And here's a view coming down the front of it. This faces west, and there's several engravings in it that I'll point out here in just a minute. We couldn't read the engravings. Here's one, and it looked like somebody's been trying to read it by putting some coloration on it. But we didn't really take a lot of time, but couldn't read any of the engravings. And there's another my brother's pointing out with his hiking cane. Up at the top there you'll see some engraving. And here's another that he says looks like some Cherokee writings. And nearby, about 10 feet away, is this huge flat stone. And if you'll notice, I'll show it in red in just a minute. There's some grooves cut in top of the stone so that some made to let liquid drain off of that stone. And we're trying to guess what kind of what that might have been used for. I don't think the Cherokee were known for sacrifices. They did have some altars, but that's a real unusual feature. And since this is a boundary marker, I thought it'd be interesting to look back at where the Cherokee boundaries were at different times. The first one I show there is where the Cherokee boundary was when the first white settlers came into the United States. The second chart shows where the boundary was, and it decreased quite a bit by the time of the Revolutionary War. And the third map shows what the boundary was of the Cherokee Nation at the time of Cherokee removal, which was about 1835. So you see that their territory had drastically reduced over those years. And if you'll notice on the last one, the little blue star or little blue dot is the location of this boundary marker that we walked to up in the woods. And you know, it got me to thinking, reading, I did quite a bit of reading about the Cherokee and their history and their boundaries and things like that to get ready for this. But it also let me learn some things about the area that I either hadn't known or had forgotten. And one thing that was of interest to me is downriver from where this boundary marker is a bluff called Painted Bluff. And on that Painted Bluff are many prehistoric paintings from Native Americans. The whole bluff area is covered with paintings, and I'll show you an example of one here. And the Painted Bluff area has been taken over by a group trying to protect it. It had been damaged by vandals and also damaged by some rock climbers. So they are trying and doing a very good job of protecting this area, which has a lot of history involved. If you go upstream about 50 miles, there's a cave called Russell Cave that's now a national monument. And the Smithsonian Institute went in there years ago and did diggings in the cave and got all kind of artifacts out of it. And they determined that Native Americans had been living continually in that cave for at least 12,000 years. So quite a bit of history just 50 miles away upstream. And this whole area was occupied by different native tribes at different times. The Creek Indians were in here for a while, and some of the other tribes, mainly the Cherokee, occupied the area. And this area of their land was called their hunting lands. The South has become known for one of the heaviest concentrations of a Native American spear point or arrow point called the Clovis Point. And these are some of the most advanced points that were fabricated by any Native Americans, and they're found in great numbers in this area. One interesting thing about the Clovis Point that's kind of changed the thinking of what we were taught in school is that Native Americans go back much longer, much more distant in the past than what we were taught and told. And one of the things that have changed the mind of archaeologists as these Clovis points have been found in the carcasses of the prehistoric huge mammoth animal. They actually found some of the Clovis points in the rib cage of some of these animals. And scientists know when the mammoths were living in North America, and also know when they became extinct. So that ties Native Americans back to that time frame by finding that point in those remains of the mammoth. So some are thinking now that Native Americans of whatever tribe that you would want to classify may possibly go back as much as 40 to 50,000 years living in North America. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little history lesson, I guess you would say, and also some family information about my brother in there. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. I've worked on it over a little time. I usually don't over polish my presentations, so there's some mistakes and there's some stammering and stuttering here and there, but that's just the way I do my videos. Since I'm not a pro, I do it for a hobby. But I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you, if you are not a Mess About One channel subscriber, that you'll subscribe to the channel. And I also hope that you'll write comments and let me know your feelings about the channel and about my videos. So I'm going to call it that for this video, and I'll see you later.